Welcome back to Threshold of Revelation, session 18, open air. We were off last week. Birthday bonanza, mostly one related to my family. But that said, they have exited the sphincter, and upon doing so, have exited out into an open air region of the island they've been on for a little while here. I had mentioned that in the distance they had seen kind of a tower-like structure, and to the north they see kind of, the telltale signs of lowering of land in the river proper. That would lead to the Makonski Plains on the opposite side of the river. But I also know that some of you are quite tired, and some of you are quite deceased. And some of you are probably due for a long rest. So upon escaping, I will note that it is about mid-afternoon to late afternoon of the day, as you kind of entered into that space, like late morning, slept through a portion of it, and then kind of messed around therein. And the walk up to the sphincter and beyond wasn't a short one, to be sure. It was, as I said, it was like a good 30 minutes to an hour. So you can certainly linger about for a time, search for a good spot to rest, or you can just keep hoofing it.
I have the hut.
I'm a bit of a lingering spirit, so yeah.
Inspiration, gain it.
I'm actually
Ah!
pretty good.
The pun's got it.
I've had worse days.
Yeah. Well, of course, Bodhi's had worse days. That's always a good measure.
I'm over half.
Yeah, I think I'm still pretty okay. We want
Does anybody absolutely want to stop and rest right away?
Do we risk getting exhaustion if we continue on?
No,
I don't think we're close to that quite yet.
no.
I think we're just a little banged up.
Oh, yeah.
I-
most of us are pretty okay. I mean, probably travel a bit if we
Mhm.
needed to.
I'm more concerned. I wouldn't want to hang around this spot in particular. I don't trust that thing in there.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of do, honestly. I don't think he's coming out of here.
Oh, that's another thing. I'm sorry. I apologize. There was one thing I wanted to preempt everything with, a lair effect. Can everybody make a wisdom saving throw, please?
Goody.
And this is going
Yeah.
to be asking a lot if everybody fails, so I just want to apologize ahead of time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who am I missing? Okay. So you did all fail. So I want to make sure you understand what I'm asking you in a narrative sense, and obviously you'll understand why over time, but I just want to make sure you understand to role play it this way. And I know it's a huge ask, but all of your memories entering into the space, not into the clockwork lair, but through the clockwork lair behind the wings, into the weird lair with the alien shit.
Never happened.
And all of the time in between that and exiting the sphincter and then exiting the cavern, gone.
Does
But-
that change with me being a spirit because it changed?
No, it's memories.
Form.
So yeah, it's not a form change. It's the soul's mind. It's the mind of the being. You're still the same. The physical
Pretty easy
brain,
role play because I wasn't here for it.
perfection. And I will say
So-
too, it doesn't seem odd. It's not like you're missing a moment. It's like you walked through the dragon lair, walked through that door, and came out here. That's exactly how you remember it. You just remember being scuffed up.
Okay.
Wait,
So we did fight robots. We did go through the big golden or brass door.
You did go through
And
the golden.
we walked through the wing door and then
Came out here. Yep.
What happens when they check their inventory for all the weird shit they picked up?
I got a lot of weird shit.
That'll come up later. That's not something they'd be thinking about now. So role
Yeah,
playing.
I'm
Ew.
just curious. She's just got like weird bottles of
remember
goo
what
and
happened?
stuff.
Ew, remind me to wash these jars.
Andy, what?
Do we
Yeah, my
remember what
tequila
happened to
worms.
Silas? Do we remember what happened to Silas?
You do not.
So he was alive and now
Must
he's
have
a
been that
spirit.
robot.
Yeah. So
Must
obviously
have got
it's,
crushed in the door.
That's a messed up. Yeah.
it's obviously something you wouldn't want to go investigate. Andy, I know from like a player like meta sense, it's like, well, we got to figure out what happened there, but
Yeah.
from an outside of player meta sense, it would be more of a, okay, well, he died. We probably shouldn't go back in there. It took out our toughest guy.
No, I understand, but he
Right.
died, but we have no recollection of him dying.
Right here.
Right.
Well, those wings
I'm
were moving when we
fine.
went through the door. Maybe one of
That's
those
the
had
weird
them.
part. The fact that we don't know how he died or.
Nah, that robot had poisoned weapons. He succumbed to that.
Must
Yeah,
have come to the
those
poison.
wings were coming down pretty fast. He must have gotten crushed by one.
Sounds legit.
At any rate,
Pretty
Silas,
sure
you
that's
did
what
a good job.
Maybe
You
food
died
poisoning.
protecting us.
Food poisoning.
I appreciate everybody. I apologize for that.
It's conglomerate metals in your future.
Silas is like, I don't like metals. I want food.
I like the meat.
So at this point, you kind of understand that based on where you're at, you traversed in a northeasterly fashion through the tunnelways. So as you remember, the this little symbol here is where you went in, and you can kind of see the lands to the south are similar to how you remember them. You can traverse in any direction you like, hexagonally. I would say if you do travel for the day, you probably have about 2 more hexes left in you before you have to camp down anyways. And the lighthouse that I mentioned is in your hex, or not lighthouse, but tall, strange structure is in your hex. Yeah.
You want to check out the strange structure or keep going? Because if we know
Can
anything,
we see it from here, you said?
Yeah, it's a good distance off. It'll be like a 30 or 40 minute walk to it, but it is kind of like over there.
How does it appear from this distance? Like, do we don't recognize any kind of shape to it?
So
Just some tower?
for Oblivion players, it looks like the White Gold Tower. It's like a big, tall, spiry thing. It almost looks like a lighthouse. It's just a strange structure, but at the base of it, there's also like a large kind of stone structure as well.
Like the White Gold Tower.
We've had a number of detours. Do we want to try to like put ourselves in like the direction of our main objective?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
get.
do.
We have been dawdling.
Yeah, but
I could
feel
take it or
like-
leave it on the White Tower.
As we've been known to do.
I feel like this is gonna be.
We
This
don't
might
even
be
remember
another one of
the
the
last happened.
lighthouse things because we left the lighthouse and then had to
Holy
go back
moly,
to
would
it
you look at
anyway.
the
So
Doting over something for sure.
Brett made a sound point there, though. I do want him to reiterate that one so you hear it.
Go ahead, sorry, I've talked over you.
that we left the lighthouse and then we had to go back to it anyway. So if we're already this close. What's to say when we go up to the next thing, we'll mention it to him and then we'll have to come back. So might as well check it out now while we're here.
And it might provide a place to rest.
Do you have your stone, your lodestar? Is
Well,
it-
we just stopped
you getting
telling him we
anything?
found stuff.
Yeah. I was throwing it out there
might be
that
worth checking for a soul well.
if we take too long, then the whatchamacallit, eventually the Aeonis forces are probably going to get enough reinforcements to start like sieging Penford at large. Because isn't that like why we're trying to disable Bridger to stop them from getting reinforcements?
We didn't really get a time limit though. They just said get to it when you can. Like
Aeonis has been sieging Penford for the better part of a year, 2 years. So it's not likely that anything is going to tip the scale enough for them to warrant another attack. Because what happened very early on in Aeonis Penford's problems is they did try that. The walls of Penford are strong. One guy for every 200 riders, 200 soldiers outside is the equivalency. And there are still hundreds of warriors in Penford. So they can't exit because the second that they lose the strength of the walls and move outside, they're at the Ionian kind of like they're in their court, and then the reverse is true. It's been locked in a stalemate for 2 years. So it's
I guess I'm just trying to gauge the urgency because I know we have like this overarching mission, but it doesn't seem apparently it's not terribly urgent. It's just kind of like do it when you feel like it.
so it's not so much Penford is at risk of falling. Penford's at risk of having control of Lavidia. So Lavidia has fallen to the Aeonian forces. That's already happened. For Lavidia to try and reclaim that, Aeonis needs to have a blockage. So you need to get to Bridger and break the bridge so that they cannot have their resources fueled to them. They start to wither on the vine in the Mikoshi Plains and also the Briery Hills and the likes up to the north there near Penford. And on top of that, you also have the other option of going further out to Aeonis itself and taking control of that city and barring any resources from getting to them, forcing the Aeonians to come back and try and reclaim their seat of power. And then the third option was kill the commander of the Aeonian forces. Those were the three kind of options that are put to you. If you find out something else to do, that's fine. But the main goal is to cause the Aeonian forces to weaken so Penford can push its forces out.
Okay, so it's more like we're not trying to necessarily break a siege. We're supposed to like help them stage a counterattack.
Correct.
Okay.
Because the siege, as it stands, Penford's still getting resources by sea. Aeonians are still getting resources by land. And then there's this, like, just causal, like, if you come out of your gates, we're going to kill you. If you try to come into our gates, we're going to kill you. And both people are right.
Okay, sounds good. All right, cool. Yeah, we can go. Let's go to the pointy tower then.
Yeah,
Sure,
plus
it'll be fine.
if the tower is important enough for us to have to come back to it like the lighthouse was, this could, in the long run, help Penford even more. If it's something that holds something powerful enough to help us or holds something that can give us a new ally.
All right. So if you make your way over that way, of course, we'll like a d20 roll for random encounter shenanigans.
2.
Perfect. You make it up to this large structure. It appears that the bottom portion is forged of very large blocks of white stone. Not too dissimilar from the facade of the Whitehammer temple off to the coast of the south. It does look like there is kind of signs of a scuffle near the front gate or for an entrance to the structure, but it doesn't look like a large scuffle. You'd see there's probably about 4 dead bodies kind of close to the steps that lead up, and 1 dead body at the top of the steps. The doors are slightly ajar, and there don't appear to be any windows on the structure whatsoever.
We see
So
the
there's-
aftermath of a scuffle.
Yeah, sorry, the aftermath of the scuffle. Thank you.
Rolling Rock, can you tell how long they've been dead?
Are we close enough to like go up and inspect the bodies?
You're more than welcome to walk up on anything. Yeah, if you want to go check it out, go ahead and make a medicine check if you're examining the corpses.
1 door,
Hmm.
0 windows.
1 door, 0 windows. And that's
Got an 18.
all the way up the length of the tower as well. The tower does not appear to have any windows.
Yeah.
You said 18 on the medicine? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Uther, since you were kind of scanning for that, though, go ahead and give me a perception check. Back to Rolling Rock while you roll that. I see the result. It elicits no further answers. Sorry. But Rolling Rock, it looks like these individuals were cut down with rider's blades. So you can kind of tell from like the way they're kind of struck that they were trying to make it up to the door, and they were struck from behind. And Uther, who's just kind of casually scanning, would note that there do appear to be pretty heavy, like clawed and foot traffic from horses. Like riders came up and killed these people as they were trying to escape.
Do those doors appear to open inward?
Yeah, they do.
How long ago?
They've probably been dead for the better part of a 6 day.
Do I feel or see any other spirits around? I
No.
don't know if that's a thing I
It's-
can do, but I thought I'd try.
Yeah, you're in the near
I like it.
ethereal. It's not something that we kind of discussed, but definitely flavorful, and I like it. I would say that the ghosts that you would expect to be kind of lingering from Fresh Dead are not present and have moved on.
Good for them.
And also, just so we have a taste of why it won't be possible for a lingering spirit to communicate with those, you are currently committed to the Dance of Turtle, which keeps you mortal. So communicating with the dead kind of forfeits the dance, if you understand what I'm saying. You're accepting that you're dead, so you can't talk to the dead. You can see them, but you won't be able to communicate with them.
Is there
I
any
guess leaving it for a few days.
A 6-day, he said.
6 day. Okay.
At most a 6 day, yeah.
Maybe we could, give them a little bit of proper care before we go into the tower.
I was going to look at their bodies, see if there's any identifying markers we would know.
So the 4 that didn't make it to the stair, they don't appear to be anything kind of like noteworthy or anything kind of identifiable. They look like common folk. One's carrying, or was carrying, kind of near their corpse, a pitchfork. It looks like there are kind of ripped open bags and backpacks on their persons. Looks like everything that would probably be worth anything has been taken off of their bodies. The individual at the top of the steps looks like he is in the remnants of conglomerate wear, like robes, some sort of mage of some sort. It looks like he was butchered the worst. Looks like he was killed face forward. Whatever attacked him in the face. A very large, kind of horrid gash across the eye and jaw, kind of breaking both the skull and the jaw in two. And it looks like his hands were intentionally severed post-mortem from his body, and they're just kind of left there nearby.
Take a closer look at the mage, see if there's any kind of identifying marker or wreck.
Yeah, it looks like everything that wasn't the robes was taken from him, so it doesn't look like he has anything on him.
All the hoof prints appear to be going inside the tower.
They appear to go up onto the steps. It does look like there's a bit of a kind of like canter around the door, but it doesn't look like anyone actually went inside.
Okay, so they rode up on them, attacked them from behind, got up the stairs, turned around, came back.
They could have dismounted, you're not sure. Their feet obviously wouldn't have the same kind of
Wait.
or mud from down there. They didn't bring up the dirt. They'd be jumping off with fresh boot, so it'd be harder to track them on this kind of just surface.
So you
For
said
sure,
the hands are still there? I'm sorry, Brent.
There you go.
The hands are still there, or the
Yeah.
hands were taken as trophies? Okay.
Hands are there.
So next we'll turn to Bodhi and say, why do you think they would do that to him?
There's a lot of mage hate out there, a lot of superstitions, I would guess. Might be symbolic, hard to say.
Sorry, Brent.
No, you're good. I was just saying, we're for sure it's all horses and not the jumping things that they ride.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can tell hoof print over a blusa. Yeah, the blusa kind of leave like chips in the stone and would have kind of dug into, leading kind of plonks in the mud. Whereas these are nice, solid, kind of meaty metal shoe.
I was just making sure because if it was the things that jumped, they might have been able to climb the tower
Yeah,
via that.
absolutely true. But based on the fact that there are horses and the rider strokes, you've been in Penford for a while, long enough to understand Aeonian riders and how they operate. This is not too dissimilar.
Guess we should hit in to check it out. Especially since this guy was running here and he was wearing conglomerate robes.
I mean, we're on a peninsula right now. So if they were able to get horses here, that must also mean there's probably a bridge, either like somewhere close by, or maybe to the north.
Now they're on horses. It could be farther than we want it to be, but yes.
Yeah.
So the hoof marks go up to the place, but don't appear to go inside.
Correct.
So which way do the hoof prints go?
Looks like they come back down, so it looks like they left. If you kind of get back down there, go ahead and make a survival roll to see if you can track what direction they came in and left.
9.
So you're not really familiar with this kind of just grossly malleable dirt, like mountain. You could kind of leave an imprint, and this is just like splotted muck and dirt that's kind of just very loose and easily broken apart. So you're annoyed at tracking on this ground because it's like, it's not ground to you. It's like, it's fucking water ground. It's boring and annoying. And so you kind of get a sense that they headed north But where they came in from, you're not sure.
What terrain are we technically on now?
You are technically in grasslands.
Okay.
You're like, next.
It already was my next one. I already have it.
Oh, you
I'm
have
just doing. Yeah, it's new to me though.
Oh, okay.
I'm just recalling when I died a bunch of times on my way to Pinford. I had to cross a lot of glass back then, but had my face in it most of the time.
That's why he was annoyed. He was like, oh my god, these hoof prints look like my face prints.
I know exactly what this tastes like.
Me too, buddy.
Perfection. That's also yeah.
You name a substance, they made me eat it. Anyway, Riziko, yeah, I'll follow you.
If you go into the structure, the first thing that you see is a dais that kind of rises up about 7 steps. In its kind of center, this large stage-like platform, there does not appear to be anything. Like, it's just a completely flat surface, perfectly white marble, no etchings or anything. It appears to be in an octagonal shape, and at 4 corners of the octagon there are large pillars that rise up from the structure and continue upward. They then unite with where the brick kind of surface stops and that pillar or tower starts, and it appears that those are the spines of the round structure above. The structure in the middle looks like it's pretty well shaped with the interior up above you, but it looks like it's a complete straight barrel of a thing that goes straight up into the air, a tower with no levels that goes up for pretty far. It looks like there's a ceiling in the distance, but you can't be certain.
If this is anything like we've seen in that layer area, then it's probably a similar mechanism.
So,
I'll walk up to it.
Any signs of life?
no, actually, no signs of life, no signs of a scuffle or anything.
So everything happened at the door or outside,
Yeah, and I mean,
from what we can tell so far.
yeah, based on tracking, it's safe to assume. I'll say it's safe to assume that they probably did come inside, but much like you now, they don't really seem to have stayed long.
Go ahead, Brett. Sorry.
No, I just walked up to it to see if I can figure out how to activate it, or
Okay.
if it's already activated up there.
I mean, yeah, you step out onto the platform, kind of looking around. Who else is with you?
I said I was following him.
Okay.
I would float with the front line still.
Okay. So you would see something interesting compared to what they're looking at. It looks like that every so often, it kind of catches you off guard the first time it happens, but a small little mote of white kind of fall from the top of the tower and kind of float through the floor. That floor panel in the center that I mentioned. And this mote of white is similar to the substance of a soul well, the things that kind of are spurred out of it. So you would kind of get a semblance that that might be the case. There might be a soul well above you. And the second that Rock enters in, he would get the tingle.
That's good.
Ooh. There's a soul well nearby.
Would I feel anything or see anything different?
Yeah, just the modes that I was mentioning. That's you seeing that. Nobody else sees the souls kind of falling from the ceiling up above and descending into the floor.
I would tell the group that we need to go this way and kind of start in a focus walking that way.
I'll spit out my dirt and catch up to the group.
I'm still outside.
Okay.
You wanna come in?
I'm just taking care of the bodies out here.
Okay. You take some time working to bury them. Do you ask for any assistance from anybody, or?
Well, I did mention it before, but then they walked inside, so I guess nobody's gonna help.
We gotta secure our own survival first, man.
Yeah.
We've already got a dead man on the team.
I got distracted a bunch of times. You had to have asked me specifically.
He says he's spitting out dirt.
Just gotta
I was thinking
remember.
about other shit.
Well, he's just
It already technically started.
he's got like a patch of dirt with like 2 blades of grass.
He's
like
got a pie server and a plate.
Oh, that's good.
Oh man, grassland, huh? Oof.
I'm still learning. But yeah, if you take the time to kind of just put everybody to rest, that's fine. It's loose ground. If Rolling Rock assists, it's not going to be hard. He's just going to earn it until he gets a nice hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big holes, easy.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And then back inside. Now, there was mention of looking for some sort of mechanism. It doesn't appear that there's any kind of signage, symbols, or anything in the place. It is literally just a very massive hall that extends like 100 by 100, or probably closer to 200 by 200. The floor panel in the middle is about 50-foot diameter, and the pillars go up for probably a good 300 feet to a ceiling inside the core of that tower.
I would
I'll take
follow
a closer
the
look at the
light.
center. Sorry.
What were you saying, Chud?
I'm mesmerized. I'd follow the lights. I'd try to find more of the souls.
Yeah, it's literally just like, the best way for me to describe it is, imagine if someone were dripping water down from like a water faucet and it's just kind of dripping into the stone, except that their souls, they're not moving like in a drippy fast light, they're just slowly falling. And
Right,
then
but
they're
He's
there's
watching a
a
stalactite
source,
grow.
right?
Sorry?
There's a source, right?
It has to be 300 feet above you. You can't see the source.
Well, then I would look for where it's falling.
Into the stone, and it just floats through because they're ghosts. And before you ask, no, you do not have the ability to pass through stone.
Are there stairs or additional floors or anything, or does it look like it just goes straight up?
Straight up. It does look like the center portion that I mentioned, the top of the dais, is connected to the 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars seem to have some sort of strange kind of arcane...
An elevator.
It almost looks like an elevator, maybe. But how
I've
it's
seen one of those before.
But how it's activated in this specific instance is unknown. I would say that architecturally, it has more in common with the Clockwork Lair than it does with the Conglomerate Holdout.
I'll go take a look at the dice.
Okay. Yeah, everybody's kind of grouping up on top of the dais.
I'll scout ahead. I'm just going to climb one of the pillars.
Yeah, if you can climb up the pillar, go ahead. It doesn't look like they have any means of activating it, but if you start to kind of move your way up the pillar, it works, and you're fine. And as you kind of get closer to the top, you see a bit more of what you're kind of looking at. There's a domed ceiling over top of a hole, and there appears to be a landing around the hole that you would come up out of. So like you were on an elevator and it kind of ascended upwards, it would stop with level and you'd be kind of up in this chamber that's at the top of the tower.
The hole would cease to exist.
The hole would cease to
elevator
exist. It would be sealed by the
Okay.
elevator, right? It feels like if you were to just kind of continue climbing up, and also the pillars stop at that point as well. So it comes up, it would just kind of lock in place, and you'd be in this kind of chamber. Yeah. So you can climb up that way if you'd like to continue finishing to the top if you'd like by yourself. Absolutely an option.
I will call back what I saw, and I will proceed cautiously and just kind of peek around up there.
Okay. And yeah, the acoustics are pretty great in the tower. So when you yell down, it's definitely, they can hear it without issue. You kind of ascend upwards, and once you get to the top or closer to the top, you can see that in the center of the dome, there is a kind of purplish gemstone. And as you kind of get close enough to see it in your soul well sight, there does appear to be a soul well kind of sitting at the point of that gemstone, kind of hovering in the air. This, unlike other soul wells, does not appear to have been formed naturally, just springing forth. It's almost like someone lanced the mortal plane with that gemstone, and that's what's caused the well. It's more of a tear than the other soul wells, which are kind of just like springs that have formed naturally.
That can't be good. Is there anything living up here?
If you kind of peek up and kind of look around,
Yeah.
nothing. Completely empty.
Does it look like there's any way to activate the elevator from up here?
The only thing that kind of stands out as possibly being the case is that big ass gemstone up above. That's the only thing that stands out at all. There are no mechanisms, there's no arcana, there's no markings. It is just very dull architecture.
It's just a plain room. There's nothing in it, right?
It's about it's the width of the tower, so 50 feet diameter. And then it has like the walls kind of extend a little bit out past that point and then kind of go up and then dome up to the top. Almost like the... Not to kind of say that this is what it's like outside of what it looks like, but if you were looking at the tower from like a perspective from the side, it looks like a matchstick. And the room that you're in is kind of the top of that matchstick.
Sure, it does.
But
Sure, a matchstick.
just a very big matchstick.
Nothing like a good cylinder with a dome at the top, huh?
Like, you know what I mean?
Gotta
Like
have one.
how a match...
Anyway,
Didn't he forget it?
I'll be casting prestidigitation and whatever the hell else into this dais. Can't figure out what the hell we're supposed to do.
Yeah, you cast a bunch of spells into it, nothing happens.
Do I see anything hand-shaped or hand-themed in here?
No, honestly, there is no apparent source.
I'd have felt real guilty digging those bodies back up.
Everything's pretty cylindrical in here.
Yeah. So just to make sure we all understand exactly what's happening here, it's like about a 50-foot high main structure at the bottom, about 200 feet wide in all directions, big open hall. Nothing of importance other than the center of the hall is an octagonal dais. The top of that dais, 4 pillars of steel that go up, a platform which is presumed to be some sort of elevator. At the top of the 300-foot structure, the tower, an empty room other than a large purple gemstone that is kind of pierced into an unnatural soul well. And that soul well appears to be dripping, per spectral sight, down into the elevator.
Does the
So the
gem
soul well
appear-
is...
Go
Go ahead.
ahead.
The soul well is suspended above the elevator shaft, or is it in a place where he can access it? He can reach it.
Directly above. So he can reach anything if there's a wall that gets to it.
Sure. But like, if he were to get up on the floor that it's on, it would be out of his reach if he were to strictly use that floor.
Well, it's not on a floor, sorry. It's hanging from the ceiling.
Okay.
Kind of like a pendulum.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can get to because I have the spider climb.
Right.
Does the gem appear to be the well, or the gem is like stabbing into a well?
If you had to venture a guess, it looks like an arrowhead stabbing nothing, and out from that nothing is coming the soul well.
Okay. I'll go ahead and walk up the ceiling and approach it. How far from the ceiling is the piercing piece?
So it's dead center, so it would be about 50 feet from the walls. Is that what you're asking?
No, like how low does the pendulum hang?
Oh, got you. So the ceiling of this room is only about 30 feet high. So it's about 5 foot down, and then the soul well is about 20 feet above where the
Okay, so
landing.
if I
would be.
walked up there, it would be chest high for me.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, okay. I'm gonna walk up to it. And
Well, how are you going to
Take
pass
over.
it if it's chest high?
what?
It's a chest high wall. No. Anyways, you walk over to
I don't
it.
get the meme.
It's fine.
He is referencing it.
It's
Animation.
No, I don't want to know.
it's fine. It's
I
fine.
don't want to know.
It's fine. You get over to it. As you get closer to it, and at this moment, Silas, just to be sure, you were kind of mesmerized by this dripping of souls, right?
Yes.
Okay. As he gets closer to it, you notice that the soul that's kind of coming down stops and then starts to float back upwards. I need you to make a strength saving throw.
Me?
Yep. Success. So you feel this pull on your soul, on your whole being as it currently stands, and starts to lift you upwards. And you use the sheer strength of your incorporeal body to force yourself downwards. And they all see the struggle that's present in you at current. And as that starts to kind of take hold, the floor starts to glow with an arcane pattern. And you hear this kind of sliding of stone on steel as the floor beneath you begins to rise.
What did you two do?
So for
I
Go.
would let them know that the souls stopped suddenly and started floating, and with that, a very
for you, this
strong
is a struggle. This is not a situation where it just kind of tries to pull you once and it's kind of like relinquished you. It's literally trying to rip you from where you're stationed. So you're kind of holding yourself, not so much gritting your teeth, kind of gritting your essence. And you would notice that there's souls that appear to be kind of moving up the pillars on the sides as well. And the glowing kind of has like a soul-like coloration to it. Eventually, click, all of the movement for souls kind of stops, and the floor kind of locks into place. The glowing,
Hey guys.
the glowing kind of stops, and the well is now visible. Excuse me, the well is now visible to everybody.
Well, good job, Uther.
I think I found it. It's like just hanging from the ceiling, pointing at a rock.
Shall I put the
be
lodestar in?
holding my chest, kind of. From
Is this
the,
I know,
normal?
buddy. We're almost there.
How'd you guys get up here?
Just kind of came up by itself.
Can you hit a button?
No, there's no buttons up here, guys. Can we see where the elevator is, or are the seams so good that it's impossible?
So it's, yeah, you can see where it's at. The seams are not
Okay.
insanely, like, they're tight, but they're not perfect.
Okay, so given just quick thought that the ghost is what brought us up here, maybe we meditate off to the side in case when he's not a ghost anymore, it just falls 300 feet.
Maybe.
Yeah, but
do
if we
need a
meditate
ghost to
off to
operate.
the side, then if it goes back down, we're kind of stuck
Oh.
up here.
Sorry, are you still
You
up?
are.
Are you still up there, or did you come down to greet them?
I'll still up here, just
Okay.
having a chat.
How high is he above us? Like 30 feet?
30 feet,
Okay.
give or take 10 feet, because Uther's pretty tall. Really just depend on how, if he's just standing, kind of looking down at you,
If I'm
or
kneeling
if he's
or
like
not.
Spider-Manning.
But yeah, me standing here and him being a ghost seems like that's what got this thing up here. Maybe step to the side before I come down and he gets off.
Okay. So
Yeah, all right.
you all float off to the side, and if Uther comes back down, what will eventually happen is the floor panel will descend, similarly to how it ascended.
But not crashing down.
Correct.
Cool.
would my soul feel pushed this
No,
time?
you stepped away from it, so you're not in the column.
Oh, okay.
Somebody write that down. Now we know how that thing works.
How do we get down?
Is this to call it back up?
I have to carry you one by one.
That's awesome. Silas first.
So you're definitely, even though you're kind of out away from it a bit, like 20 or so feet, you're still, if you kind of sleep close to the edge, or kind of rest close to the edge, within proximity to utilize the soul well. So if you wanted to do that, you could do so here.
I think Silas would like to be a real boy again.
Yes, please.
Start the process.
Look how confused and upset he looks.
Please. Real
Given the
boy.
environment, I think we'll go ahead and do a simple watch structure too. Just make sure nobody rolls over in their sleep and takes a tumble.
Everybody tie yourselves off.
There's nothing up here to tie to. Other
I mean,
than
I
the well.
could put the hut
One
up,
another.
right?
Yeah, put the hut up, but the hut doesn't bar anybody from rolling
Yeah, we
out.
can freely move
Oh, it
through
doesn't really? Oh boy.
It
No.
keeps
Never
stuff
mind.
out.
You're
It
not
doesn't
putting
keep
them in
us
a hamster ball.
Can I make a hamster ball? I like that idea.
As a different spell.
Different spell, yeah. We
Or
definitely
Ezekiel
are
gets
aware.
that dream that he's running.
Jody's nodding solemnly. I remember that. Okay.
Yeah. I guess I'll take first watch and oversee Jody's rehabilitation, however you want to call it.
Rebirth.
I mean, we can go through the other stuff first. Just when we get to sleeping portion of this.
Well, it's like a whole rest for him. To
Yeah,
do
to
it, so we
reform
might
the
as well
body.
start.
Did you guys
What
want to?
else?
Can
did
this
we
one
wanna
be
do?
used to call back, or because it's artificial, does it not work the same?
So if you start to utilize it, you would note that it works identically to a soul well. There's no chicanery here. It is a artificial soul well, but it is still a soul well.
Might want to call this in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, you want me to reach out to Decalis?
during the first watch, what you'll note, though, whoever's awake for it, is that a very strange event kind of happens just as, like, the sun finally... Of course, you're not really seeing it. There are no walls here. But a strange circumstance happens once night actually falls. The stone around you and the stone beneath you, the structures kind of therein, all become transparent. So that it looks like the only thing that exists in this space to you, looking around, is that gemstone floating in the air, just above everything. And you
Don't
can
lose sight of that and stay 20 feet away from it.
We're all scared shitless of this balcony. We just
Nobody
sleep
move.
on-
and you can see everything
Nobody move.
for a crazy amount of distance. The thing that you're noticing about this weird transparency of the stone is that it seems to be eliciting some sort of strange augmentation to your vision. It's like you can see as clearly as an eagle during the day, though it's nighttime.
Is anyone asleep at this point?
Uh,
I called first watch.
Yeah, whoever else is awake on first watch would be awake and also probably shitting themselves.
I'll try to very calmly count my steps towards Rolling Rock and wake him up with a hand over his mouth. I'm like, I need to understand something. I just need somebody to tell me this is okay.
And if Liamon's tiny hut was cats, that's another fun thing. You definitely see the whole of Liamon's tiny hut, which for most people to understand, it does bar itself at the ground level. So it's literally itself just floating in the air as well. So you can tell where the ground is, kind of, based on the positioning of the hut. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure.
So, is this thing like a telescope? Like, can you see farther than normal, or just
You can
it
see a
looks
lot.
like daylight?
You can see a lot clearer than normal. And yeah, you can see everything from this vantage point. Like the height is giving you like a good view of the area.
Is there a lot of like moon? Is it like a pretty full moon? Like, are we getting a lot of moonlight to
No,
enhance it?
No. So there's nothing that's enhancing it. It just seems like your vision is clear through the stone.
Wow.
It's actually a relatively kind of blah night. Like it's not super pretty.
I mean, once I wake up and kind of get my bearings and what's happening. I guess I would just kind of see if there's anything noteworthy, like our immediate, like northeast and west
Sure.
surroundings.
So to the direct east or northeast, looks like there is a copse of kind of rocks similar to the kind of spiry broken stones that you kind of first came on when you got onto this island. It looks like there's more of like a meatiness to though, and I say that to a dwarf, hoping they understand what I mean. It's almost like there's more substance rather than just kind of weather-torn spires of rocks. Like there might be something hidden within that, is cavern-like, structure-like in that position. Also from there, you would see that there appears to be a connection here between the island to the north
So
and
that's-
the island that you're on.
That could be where the riders cross then.
Perhaps. Directly north of you, you see a couple of small wooden houses. Oh god. Why do I ever read the Twitch chat? Listen. Things I can see clearly now the stone is gone.
Just you.
It's dorky. It's really
Just you.
dorky. It's really dorky. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. Directly north of you, there are a number of what appear to be kind of farmhouses. Maybe half a dozen or so, kind of dotted across the lands. From this vantage point, you can tell that they pretty much appear to be intact. Whether or not they're still peopled is undetermined. As it's kind of early enough or late enough that they might have already turned off their lights, or you're just not seeing them from this distance.
Or they're the dead people at the steps.
Or they're the dead people at the steps. Could be the case.
Who could say? Frankly, who could say?
Who could say? Who could say? To the northwest, you would see that there looks like there are a number of campfires kind of present and about. Small packs, but you can kind of tell that they look like they have horses as well. It looks like there are caves and such to the west, directly to the west, kind of near this segment here. Similar in kind to the ones where the bridge was located. And it definitely looks like there are the ruins of some sort of civilization kind of off in that direction. But everything else beyond that is kind of clear. You can see back a bit from where you came, and you can see that the fires of Ancrag are burning. So it definitely looks like there's a kind of, from your height and vantage point, like a bright glowing dragon's face in the mountain over at Ancrag.
Can we see the other tower to the east?
Other tower to the east.
Is that a
No,
tower?
no.
Got it.
Yeah, those markers are not for towers; they're for shrines.
Okay.
Dragon can't see us, can he?
You would hope not.
I flipped it to bird.
Well, I would tell Bodhi this, and I tell him to write this down because I don't have any paper or quill. But I said write
Who
this
has
down.
fucking paper in this.
And I'll go ahead and add a couple of note or markers so that you have them.
Yeah, I don't have a
These
quill,
were some
right?
kind
Put
of
this on-
meaty
write this on-
rocks.
put this
I
on
heard
the map.
meaty used.
Yeah, put
I was getting a
some
drink.
tasty meaty rocks here and bridge.
I'll give it a taste.
It's where the Gorons are.
Bridge to Minkoski Plain.
I do like ruins.
Peasant village here. Then we got some bastards here who
Oh.
probably murdered those people.
I don't think
Plus
he ever said
some,
peasant village. He just said wooden homes.
You did say what?
You're being
yeah.
rude.
Little classist there, Rolling Rock.
Fucking poor people.
I don't know. My culture,
Our homes are made of stone. It's much sturdier than wood. So only for these people
can't
Huff
afford
and
stone.
puff.
Don't know how to mold it.
Say the big
Speaking
bad
of
wolf told
peasants.
us so.
And then there was also something else with where the riders were, or was it just
They had campfires, and then further west were caves.
caves and then ruins. And then I say,
I'm going back to bed.
Okay, you can sweet dreams.
Okay.
I'll just watch. I'll just watch the birth of a lizard man.
Who do you wake up for your second watch?
Ezekiel.
Okay.
I'll wake him up again, like
So,
sort of like very calmly, put his hands on the stone, like, and explain like you've got 20 feet from that. The outside wall is this way. You're safe going this way.
okay.
Just the bare bones explanation of what's going on before I lay down.
Ezekiel, when you kind of lay down on nothing and fall asleep on the cold, hard stone of nothingness.
Yeah.
Ezekiel, when you wake up,
It's familiar.
it is definitely disconcerting. It's very jarring. You are kind of aware of the presence of the floor, but it definitely is not visible. During your watch, kind of not moving too far, probably, just keeping an eye out and taking in the sights. Couple things you note before the dead center of night. You do see that there is a shadow kind of near Ancrag's fires, large and very much probably the dragon, still flying around in those parts. But it's so far off, it's super small, but still super visible to you at this point. You would note too that the way behind you, there do appear to be a number of different kind of torches and lights, kind of further south and away, kind of here and here. But this one's where the main ones are, and I'll go ahead, yeah, that one's where the main ones are, and I'll go ahead and put a marker there. It looks like a very large camp compared to the other camps that you kind of see in and around the area. Add to map layer.
It's probably those long arm people.
Perhaps. That said, when you kind of come to the kind of stroke of midnight, middle of the night portion of your rest, the soul lights start glowing again. And this is during the process. Silas is reforming, but the soul lights kind of reappear. And then they start to cascade out from where the landing is, kind of like they creeped up, and start glowing all throughout this entirety of the chamber. The markings are very similar to stuff that you saw in the Clockwork Lair, very draconic, but also very different, whereas there was a lot of kind of angular lines and kind of jagged markings inside the Clockwork Lair. This appears to be more smoothly drawn, very ornately kind of designed. And when it kind of glows in this way, there are several things that you see that you don't really understand. You can make an intelligence check, or arcana check rather, to see if you can kind of understand some of these markings here.
Nope.
You don't know what to do. What would be your immediate response, like kind of confused, staring at everything?
I would just be like making sure Silas is still reforming normally.
He is.
Like I would check on him. Okay.
Yep. And so as you're kind of like taking it all in worriedly, the lights stop glowing, the stone stops being transparent, and you're inside of the chamber, and the floor has resurfaced. It's come back up to the top.
Okay. With nothing on it, like there's nobody there.
Nobody's there.
Okay. Okay. I'll like keep that in mind so I can tell whoever I wake up for third watch.
All right. Third watch comes along. I assume it would be either Nyx or Uther or Rolling Round.
Yeah, I'll wake up Rolling Rock.
Okay. It's not like you remember it in the middle of your sleep.
I'll let him know what
It's just a
happened at
dream.
midnight before I go to sleep. That the walls became regular after a bunch of lights and stuff. I really didn't understand what's happening, but I was making sure Silas was okay. But he's still reforming normally.
Since the walls are preformed, there's no other like hallways or passageways from where we are. Right? It's just besides like the hall where the elevator is.
Yeah, the hole's no longer there though. The elevator came up.
Oh, the elevator came up, but nothing was on. No one was on it though.
No one was on it. Yeah, it came up at
Okay.
midnight.
Yeah, then I suppose I'll just kind of keep an eye out for any like movement, typical stuff. Yeah, are those like the glyphs or anything that he mentioned? Are they still like apparent, or they fade away?
They faded away shortly after the elevator made its way to the top. But your watch goes by uneventfully. You presume dawn happens, but you can't see any evidence of it. There's no lights. Or no means of seeing the outside world. And yeah, as you kind of see everybody start to stir and rise, some people would take into account the fact that the floor, the elevator portion, is sealed.
How's Silas coming along? Is he still cooking?
He's reformed,
Ah!
physical bodied.
I knew he could do it.
Yeah! I might throw some clothes on that guy.
And if you had enough experience
Or
during
not.
the time to level, if you were at that point, go ahead and get that out of the way too.
Okay, I guess I don't understand this. So like,
Yeah,
I leveled last one.
Yeah.
So the experience points that I made as a spirit go back into my normal body.
yeah, correct. So whatever your experience total was as a ghost will shift over to your physical body. Correct.
Can you roll
Both
for
sides
HP
gain
for
it,
me?
but
And
you
then-
lose stuff when you die.
Yeah, no, hold on. So that's the other thing. So when you don't set a new floor, that's the thing. You just have experience as a ghost that carries into your new body. So
16,400.
experience chart. 16,400 is what your physical body should be at. Yeah, correct. And then your ghost form, your 6th level,
16,400.
should shift down to 14,000. Because the
Okay,
floor
so-
the floor doesn't change. You can't keep the second you're out of your ghost reverts to the level lowest. But if you're a ghost and you're gaining experience, when you form your new body, it's going to transfer over to that body.
Okay, so 16,400 on the normal body, 1,400 on the ghost body.
14,000, yeah.
1,000, yeah.
1,400 would be really low. Insanely lower than I want to do to anybody.
And the only thing it'll tell me if I need a level if the thing's blinking, right?
Correct. And for the next level, it's 23,000.
20,000. Yeah, I was gonna say it was over 20. I thought.
Little while. Okay.
And my full hit points, full revive.
Yeah, for you, it's everything's full max. For those of you who were in your physical bodies, everything's full and max except for your hit dice. If you spent a bunch of your hit dice during yesterday, you only recover a number of hit dice equal to half rounded down of your level.
Hit points go to full though, right?
Hit points full, spells back to full.
Okay.
Everything that resets, that's all great. It's just that hit dice are the thing that kind of, yeah.
Wake up, do some morning yoga, stretch it out. Nah. How we getting out of here, boys?
Quickly.
There's no
Well,
exit.
Silas puts us back out. Silas, give it a push.
I push it.
Come over here in the center. Give us a push.
Nothing happens.
I'm gonna go ahead and walk up to the well like I did the other day.
Yeah, cool. If you get up to the crystal again, within its presence, the glowing on the floor, the elevator portion, manifests and it starts to descend down with the people on it.
Hey, Silas, good job,
Cool.
man.
I knew Silas could do it.
Man, he's strong.
I'm so
You
powerful.
muscle boy.
Once it descends, it does leave Uther up there, but you can just spider climb back down.
Yeah. Do I need to like race that thing? Or is it gonna stay down?
No. It seems like if you try to move away from it while it's descending, it will remain descended as its kind of like set state.
Okay, so I can send it.
You just
down
go up there and
leave.
unlock it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just run down the wall and catch up to everybody.
Race.
I'll see if I can pass you.
Right. And if you'd like to stay around with it to figure out more of like its timed mechanic, but you're explained, Brooklyn would probably explain, like it felt like the dead center of the night, you know.
Oh, we brought it up and nobody ever did it. The call back to Kellis.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sure. Trying to think day wise what he's doing.
Dylan, you know, he
Would
deserves a
he
day off.
give a shit about this thing?
I would say he's available, but the second you kind of get in contact with him, he says, "I do apologize. I have to be brief. Certain matters I've been dealing with in the East. Is it important, Bodhi? If so, I will give you my fullest attention."
Artificial soul well.
Yeah, there was a. I don't know if this matters. There was an artificial soul well.
Yeah, that'll
Appeared
happen.
to be some kind of gem.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The Dragonborn used such things during the latter portion of the War of Soul and Serpents. They're called beacons. They. I can see if I can't find out the exact way to light them, but in their state they are automated, provide some beneficial defenses, are just kind of a relic of an old, long time ago. Dragons could utilize the cores of the beacons to focus their draconic arcana, and could send it down with arrow-like precision down at people around them.
Can we all hear this, or just Bodhi?
Everybody,
Okay, with the dragon in the region, is it safe to leave this here?
I believe if the dragon had any inkling of how to utilize it or its presence, they would have already made use of it.
Okay.
And the dragons just moved to Ancrag, which is closer to here now. I think we're just at the border of its hunting grounds.
There's always been
Maybe
a
it just
dragon.
hasn't come across it yet.
He says there's always been a dragon in Ancrag.
Was it not the one that was bound in wherever we were before?
Yeah, but you would know that it originally came from Ancrag. It was taken from Ancrag and bound, and then it escaped and returned back home.
Okay. Can you tell us about this tower? It turns invisible at night.
So, yes, it's an old method of being that actually some of its methodologies were utilized in the research with your group specifically. It's called soul stones. You can basically create a physicality that is very potent in its etherealness. It creates a shifting of sight inside of those, especially during like the later hours, during twilight.
Any idea what could interrupt that shift?
Not much that I can think of. It's very old magic that's built into the structures themselves. I visited one of the beacons a long time ago, up north of Penford a bit, closer to the city of Dayet, or closer to the city of Old Heisrick, and they're very interesting, but I never was one to get too ingratiated in older magics that don't have direct links to current arcana. And the main reason for that is the methodology is present. The mind of the person who crafted the techniques isn't one that I share, so I don't know exactly what their intent was. And it can be folly-some to try and replicate that which you don't truly understand. The purpose or the properties of the ghost stone, as I'm aware of it, it allows for far seeing, a bit of a more truer sight through the stone, an etherealness to it during the twilight hours, as I mentioned. Some of the beacons have old writings and scripts that can be seen in this ghost light, but I don't remember or recall the one in your area being notable, at least not by the conglomerate. I would
There was a conglomerate. What's the word I'm looking for?
mage.
A death. Like a loss here. Yeah, I'll explain about the mage and what appeared to be people looking for
Oh no.
protection inside the tower.
Do we have identification on the mage or no?
Nothing I could find. He was slashed pretty badly in the face. I didn't recognize him. They removed his hands from his body.
Eonians are pretty idiotic. They believe that we have the ability to return back from the dead. So they have
Where'd they
been,
get something crazy like that?
unfortunately, your predecessors.
Me? Like on the nose, me?
No, your group.
Oh, okay. And I'd never heard of satyrs doing that.
Oh no,
The worm
absolutely.
people?
I believe you would be correct in that assumption, Uther. Yes. They appear to be learning, and that's not good. So your mission, though not shifting of any time scale, it would be preferred if you were to move about it as quickly as you can. No new wrinkles on our end, though. Any other information you come about, please report it as quickly as you can. I do apologize. I have to continue with my other activities for the day.
Understood. We expect to head into the Makansky Plains in the next day or two. We're still at least a 6-day from Bridger.
Be wary therein. I do believe there is a town.
I said at least.
I do believe there's a town just west of the Makansky Plains that might serve as a good method for you to get to Bridger, if that is the direction you wish to go. And he kind of explains it enough to notate it on your map. It's, I don't know if that popped.
Yeah, right there on that
Yeah,
peninsula.
and I'll go
Okay.
ahead and mark it. It's
River Delta.
It's a larger town, but one that I don't think has entirely fallen to the Aeonians. They simply have taken over its rulership.
We may check it out.
Good luck to you, buddy. The rest of you.
Likewise.
And he'll disconnect on his end.
Nice guy. Busy guy.
He is a busy guy. He was in the Friday game.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Well, we want to check out those peasant houses, or maybe some caves with some meat in them, I think.
Well, somebody wouldn't set a timetable on our adventuring.
He didn't say it's
I
like,
said at least a 6-day, probably a few days to get into the Makansky Plains. I think that's a reasonable thing to say.
We gotta double time it now.
We're like a day away from there.
so based on your map that you physically have, and also what you've indicated on your map, there's a bridge or some sort of crossing therein, right over there. It narrows on the northwestern portion near the town, whose name was not given to you by Tekelis. It does seem that it narrows there, and it might be fordable.
If we beat feet, we can probably hit those caves and ruins in a day, and then double back for the other two.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Also, whenever you get a chance, John, if you want to roll for me for HP, because I only got 3.
D10, right? D10, right?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Why were you rolling for HP?
I leveled up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm way behind you guys.
you tiny boy. I got a 4. Sorry.
Better
Still
than
1
you.
point better than I got.
Is that a 4 on the die?
He still gets the combat modifier, sure. All right.
Yeah. What were you recommending, Ether?
If we move pretty quick, we could go check out the West Caves and then the ruins, and then come back across tomorrow to do the peasant camp, the meaty rocks, and the bridge.
You want to check out all of them?
I mean, we're here. Final
Sure,
expense reports. We're on a business trip.
Hey, if you want to check out the caves, that's fine. We know there were potentially the people that murdered these peasants are just northeast of us or northwest of us. If we want to get to the bottom of that, they killed a conglomerate guy.
You want to do some whatchamacallit, some retribution on these guys? Killing these people?
They're probably Aeonians.
We're the revengers.
Maybe we can get some
Maybe we can
information
take
out
their
of them.
horses. Then we'll go fast.
That would be
Sources.
faster.
Anybody vote against revengeance?
Yeah, revengeance.
I like vengeance.
And riding horses.
Anybody against horses?
Horses,
Personally, don't
yes.
like them, but we can go
Vengeance
fast.
is unnecessary.
Do like going fast.
Yeah, going fast. Get inventions. It sounds like a win-win.
Broom, broom.
Northeast? Northwest? Northwest, sorry. Northwest, I do that a lot.
Northwest.
Up left.
Okay. So yeah, you can move quite a bit. Again, 5 spaces in a day. So you're going northwest. So you're going to be going kind of like this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and roll random encounter.
Andy.
Me.
Yeah.
Oh, was I muted when I said I
Wait,
was not
did you
for
roll the
vengeance?
last one?
No. I'll happy to do it.
Okay, you do it.
Just want to mention I'm not for
It was
vengeance,
Brett
but
rolled the
okay, I rolled high. Sorry.
So what I'm hearing is he's all for vengeance.
That's a lot of vengeance.
Like,
I am
I'm not
not
for
for
vengeance.
vengeance.
Keep talking.
Okay. Maybe.
They killed commoners. Andy.
Of course they did.
They're bad guys.
There are a lot of bad people in the world.
Oh, because it was made by a bad person, you say? Okay.
I mean, we've met like 3 good people.
So yeah, this is a strange section to be sure. When you kind of come into this area, you would see that there are some remnants of farmhouses and the like, but these ones are a bit less well-to-do than the ones you saw in the through the Ghost Stone. They look like they're kind of broken apart, destroyed, and absolutely just frazzled. But not a lot of them, smaller amounts. And there's kind of a sandiness to the Westerlands as you're kind of coming into it, kind of a ascent up into kind of sandy hills and dunes, and then kind of more sandstone and like the structures similar to the when you first landed on the island, the kind of stone that's kind of shaped by wind and the like. So once in this position, it's not even mid-morning yet. It's the first leg of the, first half of the journey. Do you want to go to the cave or the ruins? Which one first?
I thought we were looking for the campsite where the guys were.
Oh,
The horses.
Yeah, no camp.
Was that outside of the cave?
No. I'd said that was out over here.
Are you serious? I thought.
Yeah. Do you want to take a second?
Whoa, I thought you said this was meaty rocks.
That was meaty
Farmhouses.
rocks, and this side was the campsite with the fire.
No. So the big camp that I mentioned to Brent is to the south. It's got a campsite.
Yeah, that's where we
marker.
came from.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be the long arm tribe. I'm not super worried about
The
that.
camp that I mentioned to you that wasn't super big but was kind of present were over in the meaty cave areas near the bridge.
That's where
damn
we
it.
saw the horses.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where we wanted to go.
That's where we went to go.
I wanted
we
to
got-
see all the locations. We were just gonna circle back for those.
Okay.
So is that where the random encounter occurs?
No, there's no random encounter that occurs. It's 18 through 20 on that spot, so you don't get it there.
Oh,
But if you're,
We were gonna end on those guys.
yeah. So do you want to move?
Okay. We'll circle through.
Okay. So then, are we going the way we went initially,
Well,
or
those guys are going to be long gone by the time we.
Yeah,
start
they are.
talking
There's
about
no fucking question they're gonna be gone, but we're already.
so are we going to the meat?
They got off scot free with those murders.
them. No horses allowed.
Are we going to the non-meaty, like mountainy area or rocky area, or are we going to the ruins?
Let's go to the lean caves.
Lean caves for one.
Rip the
Anybody?
fat on those caves.
Don't fat shame. That's rude.
Let's
Might be
get-
some thick boys in there.
let's get people to work it out.
You better believe.
Okay, so if you head that direction, no need for random encounter rolls here. What you'll notice is that there is kind of a very well traversed kind of area that looks like there's been quite a bit of traffic through that kind of goes into a narrow that leads straight towards the coast. But before it kind of gets there, it looks like it kind of divots out from that kind of position, forks out from that position. So you're kind of looking down the barrel of this canyon and you can kind of see the ocean, right? A good, a mile or so out. And then there's like this other divide that looks like it kind of goes into a back area, which might have more traffic moving to it. So the traffic that you're seeing kind of all stems from this branch that you have yet to traverse down. And then there's traffic that goes both directions, one towards the coast and one the way you're coming. Does that make sense?
think so.
So do you wish to go to the sea, or do you wish to go down the path that's most traveled?
Not a fan of water.
I also can't swim, so I'm down for the path that's most traveled.
All right. We were gonna cross a river today, but
One with a bridge.
love to hear this information.
Ezekiel can doggy paddle?
We were talking about fording the river at one point before we found out about the bridge. I hate water. I can't swim.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, radical.
That encounter with the merfolk. Just I don't want to go back.
I don't know
So
what a team we've assembled here.
not going towards the water. What ends up happening is you kind of make your way down the pass that is most traveled. It looks like it ends in a cul-de-sac, and the canyon tops seem to kind of connect more at the tops. There still seems to be a crevasse, like if you were on top, that would kind of be formed there. But they're close enough that they're kind of barred most light from entering into the space that you're in. Despite that, there's just enough light for you to see that there are a number of kind of caves cut into the stone on the right side of this cul-de-sac. It looks like there are steps cleft into one of the passageways, and it looks like the other ones are kind of more haphazardly, kind of just natural, but like still worked, but not like to a level of craftsmanship that's worth noting. Does that make sense?
Definitely intentional, not
Intentional,
Master
but
class.
not master class. Yeah.
not artisan work here.
I mean, Rolling Rock's probably shaking his head the whole time.
Made a whole lot
These
of
are some
it.
shoddy steps. You know
Collapse
what?
them.
I'm making them better as we go down.
Well, you haven't made it to the steps yet. That's just one of the cave options. Bear with me here.
Rolling, leave it better, rock.
So,
Take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but better steps.
Exactly.
you do have
That's the opposite of what that saying means.
you do have the opportunity to move stealthily, or not.
Hell yeah, stealthily. That's what we're best at.
I
Okay,
give it a go.
1
I'll
second.
try.
Let me make sure.
Follow my lead, boys.
Make sure the lighting situation is all correct.
Works down a mouthful of dirt.
Turn that off, and then shift.
You gotta get a taste for the landscape.
Now I know the land. 28.
Okay, so as I mentioned, they're kind of you're not really seeing it on the map yet due to lighting limitations. And if anybody's not getting the lighting they're supposed to be getting, let me know. I think
Can you
Or bottom right corner.
ping us to the? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Found it. Thank you.
My dark vision is supposed to be 120 instead of 60 feet.
Okay.
Sorry, which ruin did we end up going in?
You haven't gone into any of them yet. You're outside of the caves. The cul-de-sac is
Okay.
in front of you. You can kind of
Just
see
dark
where.
in the over cavern.
Yeah.
We're trying to go down stealthily right now, which is a very big no for Ezekiel.
So if you want to have like a scout move ahead, you can. Entirely up to you how you want to proceed.
Oh, did you want stealth checks from everybody?
No, not yet. It's just who wants to proceed stealthily. Because again,
I'll
Ezekiel-
let Uther take
Sure.
point before I follow him. He's a sharp cookie. He knows what he's doing.
Got a taste for it.
Okay. So what's your stealth roll?
28.
Okay. Feel free to move up. You are moving stealthily, without issue.
I can't grab my token. I think I'm stuck in a wall or something.
It sounds like something you would do.
You put it there.
Look at him.
How about now?
Yes.
So this first passage that you're going to be passing here, that'll be the one with the steps that I mentioned, and then the ones up ahead look like they don't have as much working to them. As you're kind
Should
of
I be able to see around the corner when I move or not?
yeah, should be one more.
Okay, it's not lighting up. No.
Let me double check your token logic. Night vision 60 feet, right?
Correct.
That's what it says. I've just
There it goes.
refreshed it. Okay, cool. So there's steps that kind of lead up to like a small little landing. Up ahead, there look like there are a couple more cave passages, kind of directly north of you, or northwest of you. Oh, I see. Hilarious.
Okay, I don't see anything in this pinged region. Is there supposed to be something there?
No, it's just rocks. It's
Okay, I was gonna say, I see like 2 rocks sticking out. I thought you said there were more passages.
I was
over there.
pinging there, which was
Oh, okay.
inside of the passageway. If you were to go in it, the
Okay.
the passages that I was mentioning are kind of over there.
Okay, then yeah, I'll go inside the steps and
Okay.
climb up the wall and along the ceiling.
The ceilings are actually very low, about 8 feet high. As you kind of come into that space, the first thing that you see is a door.
Ah, yes, doors.
The door is closed. It appears to be locked.
My old nemesis.
The door handle appears to be, just old style, very low
Lever.
craftsmanship. Yeah, just a simple kind of like latch mechanism, but it appears to be locked.
I'm gonna leave it locked.
Okay.
Oh wait, which way does it open?
It opens, surprisingly, it opens out. So the hinges are actually on your side of it.
Hilarious. Yeah, I'm just gonna like wedge it closed. I'm just gonna like pop a extra dagger
Okay.
between the door and the wall where the hinges are,
Cool.
and laugh to myself as I walk out of there. Idiots. There's a locked door over there, guys.
I made
All
it.
right.
I made it more locked.
Somebody make a noise. They can't get out.
Double lock. As you continue on and get closer to these other caves, you hear some conversation. It sounds just kind of muted due to the distance and stone, but it definitely appears to be coming from either the tunnel directly to the north of you or kind of the larger opening next to it. 2 voices, 2 distinct voices. You're not sure, like, they could be anything, species-wise. Like, you're not sure.
Speaking common.
They are not. They appear to be speaking some sort of variation of giant, actually. And their conversations just seems to be banter. Like, I could try and make up a conversation, but it's literally just 2 people talking about, like...
Just shooting the shit.
They're shooting the shit.
I'll sign back to everybody. Just the number 2 in that way.
Peace.
I wish.
Peace be upon you.
Slip past that one. Do the voices get more clear or less clear as I pass the tunnel?
They get more. Sorry, more clear.
Okay.
We're gonna walk up, I say to the rest of the team.
If you kind of make your
I
position
would
there,
move up.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold up here. I can see the edge of someone.
well, if you want, you can look around. You can see there's one guy there, and looks like he's kind of talking in the direction, like, opposite. So he's probably
Where I
standing on
can't
the other
see.
side of the door.
Okay.
From what you can tell, they don't appear to have any kind of or they have like helmets with like visors, but they don't appear to have any like goggles or any other kind of things there. There's also no light source that appears to be present.
So they just see in the dark.
They have dark vision. They're relying on their dark vision, correct?
Those fools.
Freebie.
Are the ceilings low in there too?
Yeah, about 8 foot high. There appears to be like a rusty pipe that you saw in between the 2, kind of like jutting out of the wall.
Yeah, I'm motion that I'm going in there. I'm just gonna cling to stuff, I guess.
Okay.
Do you motion for us to like follow or close our distance?
Yeah, man.
All right, we'll come up here. John, let me know if you want a stealth check for this distance.
I'm gonna stand right here.
Okay.
I would follow with them.
That's about 40 feet.
As you kind of move around the way, they're kind of talking back and forth, and you can get more of an idea of the space that they're in. There's a path that leads to the left. There's a path that leads to the right, which you assume reconnects with that door somewhere, the wedged door.
Okay.
And there's kind of like a network of broken stone kind of up to the north, with some bits of like broken, wood and the like.
Yeah, I can kind of see it.
Up in
Most
that
of it.
direction. Yep, kind of over there.
Mhm.
But yeah, it looks like this place was some sort of, from just the structure of it, was some sort of facility of some sorts based on the pipe work here. And it looks like it's an older facility that's long since kind of been allowed to kind of fall into disarray. But even with that being the case, that pipe that I mentioned, the rusted one, there is a little like drip drop of water and like a small like kind of pool like at the basin of it of like mud. And as they're kind of sitting there talking, one of them kind of walks over and cups his hands for a little bit, getting a little bit of water, and takes a sip.
Cool. I'm just gonna keep watching these two while the other guys kind of catch up, because
Okay.
I feel like they're gonna hear them coming.
Yeah.
And I've got an ever burning torch.
If
But
they
then
move,
I like
past,
to-
if they move past me,
Okay.
I'm gonna stab the second one.
All right, I'm approaching the door a little more.
Okay, so Bodhi, go ahead and make a stealth check once you kind of move
You
past that
got
point.
Shoo-doo-bah. 6.
Okay. So from your position, Uther, you see the one that's kind of so this one here would have come.
Slurping.
This guy would have come over and slurped, and he kind of looks over his shoulder, and the other guy kind of notes it, kind of walks closer to the door, standing like right next to you, and he yells down the passageway in Giant what you would know as a challenge. Basically, Goliath and people who speak the Giant language will have kind of like a coded way of allowing entrance, and he has stated a challenge to Bodhi in Giant, asking him to basically reply in kind. And it's like a coded thing that you would know the answer to, but you would know Bodhi does not know the answer to.
Hello?
And standing this close to the guy, you would note that he does appear to have Goliath features, and he's a little short for a Goliath, but not outside of the idea of what a Goliath would be. So your presumption is that now that you kind of got a closer view of them, these individuals look like they're giantkin.
Would I have?
Sorry, go ahead.
Would I have a turn here or just an action?
So if you're wanting to do something that would be considered combat oriented, we'll start a combat round and you'll have the first initiative, and then the first round will be a surprise round. So if you're planning on engaging that way, yes. But if you're planning on doing something that's non-combat oriented, you do whatever you want.
I was just gonna ask.
I'll just go ahead. Let's see.
I was just gonna ask because I'm within 10 feet of Bodhi. Would I have heard the guy yell?
Yeah.
Or is it 2? I speak Giant as well.
Okay. Okay. Since you are not a giant, you're not a giantkin, you're not a Goliath yourself, I need you to go ahead and make an intelligence roll of history if you have it.
Oh man, only a 9.
He yelled out the word let's say he yelled out the word fist, which to you doesn't mean anything, but to people who speak the language and are Goliaths, they know that the Goliath they would know the Goliath challenge to that, or the response to that challenge.
I look at Ezekiel and I was like, man, this guy's a dolt. Just
Right?
saying the word fist.
It's strange.
You'd think a giant would know how to speak proper giant. Then I start
Right?
talking to Ezekiel in giant.
Same. I'll talk back
Nice.
with them.
I'll just say hand and then move into a combat stance.
Wait, you say hand?
Yeah, right into his ear.
Oh, okay.
We'll just assume that that's the combat. Whatever.
It is the answer. Good call.
Of
But
course it is, because I'm a giant.
yeah. So make a stealth check.
I'd rather you just piss his pants. The fuck?
Well, he's gonna be confused for sure.
27.
You go and then kind of lean back, and he's kind of like. And then in Giant, which you understand, Rolling Rock, he says, "Come along."
Good to
That's
go,
pretty
guys.
great.
They moved back into their kind of guard positions. Who's
Oh, is it safe?
Yeah, it's safe. He said to move along.
who's the first?
All
person?
right.
Oh, sweet. Okay, now he's talking fluently.
Oh, and the other thing you would have noticed about these guys, Jeremy, is they don't have weapons.
Yeah. Just brawlers.
Yeah, they do look like they have like mean gauntlets on, but like other than that. Okay, so Rolling Rock's first. They look down at you, kind of give you a nod, and say, "You're new." Still speaking in Giant.
I just passing through these parts.
Oh yeah. Then what business do you have here? We don't take strangers.
Why did we come here? Just to explore?
Yeah.
It looked meaty, I thought.
No, this is the lean
You
cave.
you,
These
you
are
couldn't
the
stop
lean
talking
caves.
about. Oh, this is the lean cave. I'm sorry.
These are the slim thick.
Gudger, the other guy says Gudger didn't send you.
He did not.
They kind of
We
like
are explorers.
raise their hand and kind of
exploring
look
the
at you and
land.
say, "We're gonna have to ask you to leave."
Okay. I start walking away.
All right. They kind of look like
What
they
was
were
that
ready
about?
ready for a scrape, but they like kind of confused, kind of lower their as you kind of leave.
I don't know. Seems to be their place. And we don't. I don't do B&Es, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we
Sure
really
hope everyone gets that memo.
we really respect that.
I don't know. Someone came knocking at my house, and I said, "Hey, can I help you?" And they're like, "I don't know." Well, this is my property. Don't come in. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So, Uther, if you continue moving along, the others are moving out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I kind of saw him leave. I'm just going to look around a couple corners.
I didn't understand a word of what just happened, so I'm just waving at him.
Okay. If you kind of move around, you'd pop and you'd see kind of like moving from that position. It looks like north of there, it looks like an old kind of busted up storage room. A couple of barrels. Looks like the barrels are sealed on the top with wax, like an orange wax kind of in the seams of it. So probably containing some sort of liquid. And the other barrels around the corner here, which are on the right, you'll see as well. Looks like there was a ladder that went up into a kind of access hole up above, but it looks like that access hole has been sealed and the ladder's been knocked down to the ground. And then it looks like the wall to the north was broken and like portions of it have kind of fallen down. But there's kind of a traversable state. It's like 3 feet off of the ground, so it's difficult to crane, sure, but it looks like you can kind of pass through that north wall there.
Take a gander.
All right. Go ahead and make a stealth check. And your passive perception is
15.
you would hear someone walking down the way, and as you're kind of seeing ahead of you, you would note that there's a light source present here.
Yeah, I'd start backing away then.
Okay.
Would want him to actually see me.
All right. That stealth check is satisfactory, but it does cause him to kind of like peer in that direction and kind of stop for a second.
It's been the wind.
It kind of does a what was that noise situation?
Unsettled rock.
Yeah. Kind of shrugs and continues on. Looks like if you kind of watch him from stealth, kind of just continues around the bend there. It's another one of the Goliaths.
Yeah, but with a light source.
Yeah. Well, you would know Goliaths, like, they have dark vision, but, like, dark vision isn't perfect. It's not.
Right. But it takes away all of my advantage.
Sorry. Do Goliaths have dark vision? No, not normally.
No, actually they don't.
Yeah, so these two guys here, they do have it somehow.
Must be their armor.
Something like that. All right.
Oops.
So in this
You
space,
lost.
it looks like there's a pass that moves up north. There was a T
Cool
section.
statue.
Looks like you chose your path. Yeah, there was a cool statue. Do you want to investigate that, or do you want to move away from it?
Yeah, a little.
Okay.
Anything written on it?
1 second here.
We got turned away from entering somebody's house, and then we all just sort of stand around in their front yard waiting for somebody.
So, looking at the statue, it is a large warrior, Janaran warrior. Looks like he's wearing kind of draconic armor, a sword in his hands, kind of pointed down to the ground. The sword holding hands, the fingers are kind of broken away, like chipped off, and you can see that the sword that it's holding, this very massive looking great sword, isn't made out of stone. It's a real great sword. But it looks like it's just been kind of left there. It's kind
Does
of.
it look as old as the statue does?
It does. It's like rusted on its edges. There's some cracks therein. It does look like there's some markings on it of an arcane nature, but it does look like it's beaten the shit out. In the corners of that space, too, there are kind of recesses that have carvings of men kind of present in the corners. Janaran warrior types.
Does that mean anything to me?
Just looks like an ornate little chamber.
Okay. I'm going to pop around this corner.
You hear growling immediately as you kind of come into this space. It doesn't seem directed. Definitely seems like it was there present before. It doesn't look like it was triggered by your movement. But as you kind of peek around the corner here, you would see what looks like a lizard-like creature, which I think with your knowledge of the region, you would know is an ambush drake, which is about 6 foot long, about 3 or 4 feet wide, big old lizard dragon creature.
Yeah, I don't want to go that way.
You can hear a sickening crunch as you turn away. Sounds like it's kind of biting down on bone or something.
Good for him. Just going to walk away. I want that sword, but I don't want to make a lot of noise.
How much noise can one sword in a statue
It
make?
seems important.
You're the master of stealth.
How in there does it seem?
You're the master of unlocking.
The fingers have been chipped away.
Yeah, it looks like you'll need to kind of wrench the handle down and away to get it loose, but it doesn't look like it's going to make too much noise. Nothing more than like a kind of stirring of stone.
Just sneeze while you do it. That'll cover it.
Yeah, I'll put my own hands over the stone hands and kind of snap it, try to muffle the sound and catch as many rocks as I can.
Okay. As you kind of pull the sword away, you're caught off guard as the two corner alcoves fluidly kind of move straight towards you.
Had to be a trap.
The essence of them, let me kind of show you how these things look as they
Those are ugly.
pop out. Oh, the full thing is a bit weirder. It almost looks like a bunch of stone is trying to take on like a ghost-like shape of the person that was inured by the stone carving, and their hands become just kind of blade-like appendages. Doesn't look like they're reaching for the stone sword at their belt. Yeah, so it's just me and you.
Did I get it?
You have the sword in your hand. Yeah, you were wielding it. But I am gonna try and murder you.
I don't know what's taking him so long.
Nice try.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm totally content to wait.
You will be missed.
We're just sort of meandering outside, like, oh boy, is it noon? Is it quite noon? Should we have breakfast?
They burst forward. It's not quiet. And it is your initiative first.
I dash.
All right. Where are you heading?
Sorry, hold on.
Where are you heading?
Out.
Feel free to move.
To here. I went down the hall. I don't know how to draw the lines. down the hall past the pipe, and I'm just gonna run past that guy. But ooh, heads up,
Okay.
in giant.
Well, they would have probably moved away from the door, so they're probably not all standing there. Is that right?
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
we're out this way.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it to the Goliath as I leave.
We're just squatting on the
Boys.
front line.
Yep. So,
Loud enough that wherever they are, maybe they heard it.
Fast!
Ooh, heads up!
go ahead and roll me a D100. I'm gonna make a ad hoc ruling here regarding your character class.
62.
Okay, fair enough. High is good. So yeah, they don't see you. They do hear you, and they do kind of understand your presence, but they're currently not able to see you.
Looking around.
Yep. If you're continuing,
Nice echoey caves.
if you're continuing to run, they're not going to try and tail it after you or anything.
No, I'm just gonna keep beating feet if it's my turn again.
That makes sense. Okay. Cool.
Does that mean it's my turn?
Yeah. It'll just end
Oh
the
yeah,
combat.
then 14 squares. I'm catching up.
Yep.
Boys, we should go.
All right.
That place got ghosts.
All right, you make it back out to the divide, the 3-point location, and
I found this thing and I thought it looked cool, so I brought it with me.
Why does this always
What you got?
happen on Sundays and not any other days?
What?
We're just too cool for it.
I guess.
Did roll 20? Poop its pants?
Yeah, it's not letting me move.
Mm.
It's locked into the same music. It's
I'll take your time.
yeah. I got a little bit here.
We were gonna go north after this.
Well, you go back out
Or
to the Y. There was the point to go to the C, and there's the point to leave.
Oh right.
We don't like
traffic.
the water though.
I mean, it's worth taking a peek at.
All right, but I'm not getting in.
All right.
I can identify that thing.
Okay. So with that being the case, then you take a couple minutes to identify the greatsword. Is that right?
Yeah, I could cast it as a ritual, sure.
So it is currently in a. Let me check my notes here. Handouts. Is it under miscellaneous? No, it's not. Home rule rules? Yes. The quality is currently in the inferior state. So large signs of wear, full of cracks on the blade and the haft of the weapon, chipped elements kind of broken apart from it. So it's definitely pretty fucked up. But it is a Dragon Slayer greatsword.
Guys,
You're,
we're fuck up a dragon.
You're starting to get a little kitted out there, aren't you?
The party is. I can't swing this thing.
Dragon Slayer
you've got that arrow already, don't you?
Yeah.
is a +1 to attack and damage rolls all the time, but if you hit a dragon with the weapon, it takes an additional 3d6 damage of the weapon's normal type.
So, Ezekiel, this is for you.
Yeah, anybody that wants it can have it. I can't swing it.
It's two-handed, right?
The greatsword, yep.
Ezekiel's like a amateur smith, right? Like he can up its
I
quality.
might be able
like,
to clean it up a little
clean
bit.
it up.
Would the
I still
mending
have my-
cantrip enough times be enough to raise it one level?
No. As we
Okay.
discussed, mending doesn't.
I know, but you specifically said it had cracks and surface wear.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, no.
Okay.
I have the Giant Slayer sword currently.
Still not a fan of that thing.
Yeah, I'll take it, and the next time we have like downtime, I'll work on trying to fix it if I can.
It's going to take you like 4 weeks, I think, to get that thing back up.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I gotta pop off early. Something just popped
Go for it.
Good luck.
Okay.
All right.
See you next week.
See you later.
Ezekiel gets a dragon slaying sword.
And
I got a cool necklace that made it harder for me to die.
Do like that.
That's pretty great. Rolling Rock gave me a kiss on the forehead and everything.
everything. So I assumed that the
Described by perfect Sunday.
the next position you were heading to was the ruins to the north. Is that right?
They wanted to see the beach to build sandcastles.
Oh, you do want to go
Sitting
check
over
out.
there.
You do want to check out the beach.
I'd
They
be
wanted
willing
yeah.
to if
There's
it's
just no reason not
if it's
to.
like if it's like gonna break your computer, we can.
No,
we can
no, no,
skip
no.
it.
When you get there, it looks like there is a small makeshift port, like a small little pirate's cove, if you will. And it looks like there's kind of a single like pier for maybe a larger ship, nothing too massive, but like maybe a nice little treader or something to that effect. But the thing that you notice that's present is there are a number of smaller ships, which are definitely very seaworthy and very much kitted out for kind of travel up and down this coast. Looks like whoever you just narrowly evaded appears to have kind of a connection here
Navy.
with other people.
So we could see if we can get one of these ships to go up and just go up under a bridger. If we want to do it that way.
Was this map this big before?
Yeah.
Okay.
It zoomed me out to a different spot completely, and I was very lost when we came back to it. Where the hell am I? I was way off in the south corner.
Yeah, just cool.
Yeah.
Not just me then.
Are any of the ships or vessels recognizable as far as like this pertains to the Aeonian Navy? This belongs to some merchant
No markings.
group. No markings. Okay.
Private Navy.
McHale's.
Very good.
Thank you.
Surprised anybody else got that.
Not an accessible joke.
But yeah, if you want to steal one, it's obviously. I mean, like I said, it looks like they have water barrels. The wax barrels that you saw in there appear to be similar to the one that the boat has, and it looks like it's kind of connected to a piece of artifice that's like a dispenser, like not a spigot, but like a strange device that kind of the barrel slots into the back of the boat, like sideways, kind of locks into this thing that allows you to kind of get water out of it without having to open the barrel each time. And then
So it's like a tap.
yeah, kind of. I mean, it's not exactly a tap or a spigot. It's like
Are we? Is this the assumption that it's water inside the barrels?
it can be clearly identified as water.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, and it's like a siphon that's kind of like connected to the side and kind of comes up. So there's like a small like tube with dripping water. If you were to kind of like pull it up and lift it, it would cause the water to siphon.
Okay. I don't hate the idea of stealing a boat. I know two of you are averse to water. I don't know how the other two of you are.
I'm fine with water.
Rolling Rock left.
You
I'm
liter-
fine with water.
you literally could just row it onto, and there's also a small sail as well. So if you are capable of using land or water vehicles, you could ignore the rowing.
I am a land vehicles guy.
Take this right up to Bridger and get butchered at sea.
They wouldn't know who we are. I'm wearing my coat inside out.
But then we'd never see the ruins or the camps.
That's true.
Unless we took our super fast boat around.
I'm sure it's so fast. I'm sure it's so much faster to take this up and down the river.
Might be faster than walking.
Walking one way
Nah,
across.
yeah, we gotta go
Without
pretty far
such
out of
a
our way,
distance.
actually. Yeah, you're
Such a
right.
distance. It's crazy.
You literally could just row right up to. Yeah.
Oh no, screw Bridger. We gotta go see that camp. Something about killing some horses.
I
Oh,
might check it out the town.
It's like 9 hexes if we go that way.
by water. Yeah.
What do you guys want to
Over.
do? We're coming up on the end of the session. Do we want to take a boat or do we want to travel by land to go check out that camp or that ruin?
I would like to see the ruin personally, but
If I was got those brand new legs, probably let them, break those in.
gotta stretch them out, you know.
I also agree with camp or ruin.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
The boats might still be there, so we'll leave them for now.
Okay.
We don't need anybody chasing us on open water who is probably better at sailing.
Then what I'll say, just to kind of have us have a good lead in for next session, is as you make your way back out of the mount or the rocky area and continue northward, the area here is more like the scrubland that I mentioned before, with a number of different outlets that seem to kind of be peeking out of the area into the different waterways that are present. The ruins at some point look like portions of them are actually submerged in portions of water, and others are kind of like toppled due to the nature of the soil and the earth beneath the foundations basically being weathered by the water. So the ruins don't look like they were like devastated by some kind of like conflict or combat. It just looks like they were poorly built in a land that very quickly became more marsh than it was prior. So as you're kind of moving through those areas and looking at the ruins, there really isn't much notable besides kind of broken towers, fallen over towers, a couple of small fortifications and the like. But I would like for everybody to go ahead and make a perception roll while you're in this space. I'll go ahead and throw rocks, and we'll see if you see anything in the ruins worth noting.
That's not bad.
Rikiel, 23.
Goddamn, he got a +10.
God damn.
Okay.
Goddamn.
Yeah, he sees it.
Showing off.
He sees that there are a couple of small boats kind of moving through one of these throws, and it looks like it's connected to a single fortification. It's kind of out in the marshlands, and he kind of points it out, thinking that there are actually people like inhabiting that fort.
Does their name start with a G?
I don't know. We'll figure out next time on Threshold of Revelation. Let's see. Thank you for watching. Those that did.